Welcome to Yellowbird Pilates. My name is Amy and I've got a lovely session for you today using the resistance band. So if you have something like that at home, grab that. If you don't, that's fine. You can use something like the cord from a dressing gown or a rolled up towel. We're also going to be using the small soft ball today, small head cushion and a large head cushion. So again, if you don't have these items, then feel free to use something, a cushion from the sofa or something of a similar size. Okay, so let's get going. Let's pop the ball between the tops of the thighs and just bring the feet beneath the hips. Just starting to think about our posture here today, and just bringing the ribs nice and soft in towards the body so they're not flaring out. Opening up wide through the collarbone and just allowing those shoulder blades to pull together and down gently towards your back pockets. And then start to feel an elongation through your spine and lifting out from the top of your head like there's a string pulling you up and a force travelling down through your feet, harnessing you into the earth today. And just close your eyes there if you're comfortable to do so. And we'll take a few centering breaths to start the practice. So inhaling in through the nose, expanding the lungs laterally, and exhaling out through the mouth, allowing that core to draw into the center. Inhaling in through the nose, lungs expanding, and out through the mouth, just engaging the legs onto the ball a little so that you can draw up the pelvic floor to meet your core. And once more like that, in through the nose, wide lateral breath while you do hold on to that core engagement just a little. And then as you exhale, feeling that pull in towards your center, lift up and drawing everything in. Lovely. Opening the eyelashes then. And we're just going to reach up. Take a step back here so that my hands are in view. Reaching up, grasping one wrist with your hand and just coming into that lovely banana stretch, just allowing yourself to pull yourself gently out of your waist. And then coming across to the other side, taking an inhale in the middle, exhaling to come to one side. Inhaling into the bend, exhale brings you out of it, a little core engagement. Back to our starting side. Try and keep the hips where they are so that this becomes stretched through the back of the spine. And coming over to the second side again. Keeping the shoulders relaxed as you do so, making sure they're not creeping up around your ears. Lovely. And coming back to the midpoint, just allowing those arms to come down and the shoulders to circle. And then we're going to come into slide our hands down towards our knees, coming into standing cat-cow. So from this position, really dropping your tummy towards your hands, looking out in front of you, and then tucking your tailbone under and allowing that movement to come through the spine segmentally. So the spine is reaching out behind you, head coming down as the last movement, looking down towards that ball. And then rippling through, so changing again the angle at your pelvis first and then allowing that movement to come through your spine. Taking a breath in that standing cow pose and then rippling through from your tailbone all the way up through the spine. Lovely, let's take one more of those in either direction. Inhaling into the cow, exhaling to tuck the tailbone and ripple through into cat. Fantastic, and then come out of that there. And we're just going to take a roll down now, all the way to the bottom and collect our band. So we're inhaling here, to unstack the spine. Feel those vertebrae one by one releasing, relaxing through your shoulders as you roll down, but just keeping a light engagement through the core. And then at the bottom, keeping the legs straight, allowing that hamstring stretch to happen, and just taking a little bounce into that, just carefully today. And then grabbing the band, taking an inhale, bending at the knee, engaging at the core, and then slowly restacking the spine all the way to the top, rolling out the shoulders when you get there. Taking an inhale, just allow yourself to come back to your standing position. Now we're going to drop one end of the band to stand on it with your foot, and then take the band with your other hands out in front of you. We're going to do a wood chop movement, so we're going to be stretching up, so you will need quite a bit of pull on the band. The shorter you make it, the more resistance you've got. So we're going to inhale up, exhale to chop down across the body, twisting the hips, allowing the legs some movement as well, a little bend in the knee there. Inhaling up, keeping that nice straight back, so you're really hinging through your hips and keeping a strong core to allow this movement and allow the stretch. Taking an inhale, powering up, just enjoying that rotation, that full body movement, strong through the back and the core as we twist up. Lovely, one more like that. And then we're going to allow the band to come to the other foot and take that movement again. Inhaling up, exhaling to come down and round, little bend in the knee. Inhale at the bottom, powering up on the exhale, taking an inhale, down we go again. Strong through the core, just trying to make sure you relax the shoulders on the reach. One more like that. Lovely. Okay, let's release that band from under your feet. And we're going to come into a squat with our band as well, pulling apart. So we're going to just start by coming down into the squat and pulling the band apart. 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to stand up. Just allow the shoulders to come down, and we're going to pull the band apart here. 1, 2, 3. And come down into the squat again and do 3, 2, 1. Staying in the squat, raising the arms above your head. 3, 2, 1. Now we're going back down into that lower position for 3, 2, 1. Then we're coming out of the squat, just allowing the legs to do a little bit of a wiggle release. And we'll come through those squats and band pull aparts again. So coming down into the squat, 3, 2, 1. We're going to raise up onto our heels, raise the band overhead. 3, 2, 1. We're going to come back down onto our heels. The band comes to the bottom. 3, 2, 1. And rising up. Give the legs a little wiggle again. Lovely. And then we're going to try taking the band in the other direction, so allowing it to sort of sit in that hip crease there. As we come down into the squat, knees tracking over your toes, so trying to avoid them knocking in. We're going to pull the band behind us. So this is our tricep pull. So we're pulling behind for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing to the front, staying in your squat, and pulling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up onto those toes. Band to the ceiling. 5 rather. 4, 3, 2, 1. Staying on the toes all the way to the ceiling. Band down, still on the toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And coming down onto your heels again. Fantastic. Right, we're going to do our balances now. So we'll get rid of the ball just for the moment. We're going to be doing some lunges. So make sure you are at the top of your mat and you've got room behind you to lunge backwards. Take your band, pop it under, we'll all do the same side, under the left foot, and just hold the ends of the band here. And we're going to do a bicep pull as we lunge down into position. So thinking about our position for our lunge, getting our posture nice and neutral, strong through the core, bringing our weight into the left leg, peeling the right foot off the floor, hinging forward at the hips, getting deeper into that bend of the left knee, and then allowing ourselves to drop down onto the back leg. So a nice right angle front and back at the knees, and the arms simultaneously coming up into that bicep pull. Okay, so we're going to come out of the lunge, back to standing. We're going to come down into that lunge again, so coming through nice and slowly, bicep pull into the lunge for 3, 2, 1, and we're coming out of the lunge again. Okay, and then we'll swap feet. Come to the other side. So bending into the right knee, left leg coming out behind you, hinging forward at the hips, deepening the bend at the right knee, and then allowing the left toe to come down to the ground. Bicep pull here, coming back through onto the right leg, back to standing, taking a breath, and then starting that process again. So bending into the right leg, left leg goes out behind you, deeper bend at the right leg, landing back on your left foot, pulsing there with a bicep curl for 3, 2, 1, and then coming forwards again to your standing position. Now we're going to have a go at moving between the lunge and the bicep curl to an airplane. So band under your left foot, bending the left knee, right foot's coming out behind us, landing the lunge, bicep curl up. Now from this point we're going to come forwards again into that left leg, raising the right leg up, and then with our aeroplane arms you've got a choice. We can either pull forwards into the band, or we can have a go at pulling up behind us. Each working different muscles, so you might try one on this leg, one on the other leg. And then we're going to come down back into the lunge and the bicep curl, and then coming back through to your standing position. Fab, well done. Let's take that to the other side. Okay, so bringing your weight into the right leg, bending that right knee, allowing the left leg to come out behind you, landing that bicep curl when you're in the lunge, and then we're coming up into our airplane. So get the legs right first, bringing the weight into your right leg, still a bend in that knee, left leg going long, and then you've got your choice of arms again, pulling out behind you, or pulling out in front of you. Experimenting with that shape, trying to keep the shoulders relaxed, and then coming back through, landing down into that lunge, bicep curl, and then through back to your standing position. Fabulous. Well done if you stayed with me on that one. Okay, we're going to come down to the mat now. So we're going to have a go at coming down without using our hands. So I'm going to suggest that you cross your feet over here, one in front of the other, just a little bit more. And then we're going to bend the knees, hinging forwards, coming a bit onto the sides of the feet, keeping your weight forwards, and then coming through into a cross-legged seat. Well done, however far you got on that one before you came to the floor, well done. And we're coming onto our side in a second, but we're just going to tie the band around the tops of our knees before we do so, just to add a little bit more resistance to the exercises that we're going to do. So I'm tying my band into a little bow. Okay, when you've got your bow tied, you come down onto your side for a clam. So we're taking the small head cushion, placing it between your shoulder and your head. We are just thinking about our alignment first of all, making sure the feet are in line with the spine, and your legs, your knees are bent. And then just thinking about the pelvis, making sure that the top hip is stacked directly over the bottom, not slouching into the mat, allowing your waist to fall into the mat, making sure that top hip is nice and long. And then from here, we're going to pop the hand on the hip, elbow to the ceiling. I'm going to start our clams level 1. So exhale to open into the band, inhale to close. Exhale, open, inhale, close. What we're not doing here is rotating at the pelvis. We're not moving back to allow that opening. So imagine you've got a stake through your pelvis and it cannot move at all. You're just using the muscles around the glute to open that clam, working into that band. Let's do 3 more. Let's do 2 more. Let's do 1 more. Fantastic. Let's put the feet up on an imaginary wall and go again. So just making sure that you haven't dropped your waist into the floor here. And we're opening again for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, you can do it, 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. We're wrapping everything up, allowing the feet to come back to the floor. Lovely. From here, we're going to take the legs long, kickstand with the feet, so flexing at the ankle. You can either choose to have just the fingertips on the floor, like you've got a little set of poppadoms underneath them, you don't want to crush them. Or you can take the hand to the hip. Okay, this is a tricky balance one, so see how you feel. So we're engaging strongly through the quarters of portus here. Inhale prepares us, and we're going to float the top leg up, hold it there, engaging the core, and then we're going to float the bottom leg up to meet it. So you really need strong core engagement, but relaxing through the shoulders. Inhaling here, allowing the legs to come back down. Let's take that again. Inhale prepares us. Exhale, lifting the leg, top leg only. Inhale there, really strong through the core, bringing that bottom leg up to meet the top one. Inhaling there, allowing the legs to come back down. So these are our leg lifts. 1 more like that. Inhale prepares us. Exhale, lift. Inhale prepares us again, engaging through that core, lifting up with the bottom leg. Staying strong while we take a breath here. Great for your adductors, your inner thigh muscles, as well as the glutes. And then allowing those legs to come back down. Fabulous. Okay, now I'm going to treat you to an arm opening now. So if you have a slightly larger head cushion, take that now. Allow the knees to bend up again and take your head to the front of your large cushion. Both hands out in front, palms facing. We're inhaling here, And we're exhaling to open up the top arm and roll it, take it behind you, opening out, following your hand with your eyes, breathing at the back there, exhaling to bring the hand all the way back round. Inhaling again and exhale to open it out. Now imagine that your hips are staked again, your knees are sort of glued together. So this is really a twist for the spine, not the hips. After your inhale, bringing that hand back round. Lovely. Now we're going to take those exercises to the other side. So I'm going to switch ends here. But we're going to start with our clams. So I'm taking my small head cushion for that. So knees bent up again. Thinking about our alignment through our hips. Making sure we've got a little lift through the waist there. Taking the hand to the top hip and starting on those level 1 clams. So exhaling to open, inhale to close. And really working at your own level today. So you can do these so that you don't tire your muscles, or you can really push on each one and get the maximum out of that move. Depends how you're feeling today. We'll just do another 3, another 2, another 1. Give yourself a moment's rest in between, and then we're popping the feet onto the imaginary wall, just double checking that we haven't sunk into the mat with our waist. And then we're going again. So we're doing 8, 7, 6, relaxing through the shoulder, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 more. Folding everything back down. Just allowing yourself a moment to breathe, and then taking the legs long. Having that kickstand with the bottom leg and deciding whether your hand is over the poppadoms or on your hip. Inhaling to prepare you. Exhale to take the top leg up. Inhale to hold, getting the core ready, and then bringing up the bottom leg. So you should feel that on the inner thigh and the top glute. Allowing the legs to come back down. Taking an inhale, exhaling up with the top leg holding there. Strong through the core, floating that bottom leg up to meet it. Relaxing through the shoulders and allowing the legs to come back down. Once more like that, then inhaling to prepare. Exhale, lifting the top leg. Inhale, hold. Exhale, floating up the bottom leg to meet it. Strong through the core. And floating that back down. Okay, lovely work. Let's find our big head cushion then for some arm openings. And just allowing the knees to bend up again. Hands out in front of you, palms facing. Taking an inhale to prepare. On the exhale, opening out that hand. Taking it out behind you, following it with your eyes. Inhaling at the back there. Exhale. And a little bit of core engagement, slowly bringing you back round. Inhale at the front there, exhale to open out. Twisting through the spine, keeping the hips stable. Breathing at the back there, exhale brings you back round. One more like that then. Exhale to open. Inhale at the back, and an exhale brings you round. Lovely. Okay, Taking the large head cushion out, replacing it with the small head cushion again. Rolling onto our back from here. Ready for our one leg stretches. So we're going to leave the band tied round our legs. If you do at any point feel that's a bit too much, just take the band off, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to start with our one leg stretch. So we're in our Pilates neutral position. We've got a little gap under our lower back. Hands are down by our sides. And we're going to pull into the band because our knees should be hip width distance apart, but the band is going to want to pull them in. So we're even in our Pilates neutral, we're resisting that band. And then we're coming into our one leg stretch, but we're going to start it on a level 2. So we're inhaling to prepare. On the exhale, we're going to bring the left leg into tabletop. So we're pulling against that band to get into tabletop. And then we're taking the leg long, pointing out the foot, bringing it back into that tabletop, and then allowing the leg back down. So all the while you're moving this, you're keeping that leg on that parallel line, in line with the hip. You're not allowing the band to pull it into the center point, okay? Switching to the right leg now. Inhale prepares us, exhale into tabletop. Inhale to point the leg long. Exhale back into tabletop. Inhale down. Exhale up with the other leg. Inhale to reach long. Exhale back into tabletop. And inhale to come back down to the mat. Exhale, lifting the right leg. Making sure that the leg you're pulling against isn't moving into the center point either. Taking the other leg long. Back into tabletop. And back down. Fabulous. Okay, we're going to have a go at those now from the level 3. So we're bringing both legs into tabletop, just making sure that we've still got the gap under our lower waist. We're inhaling here and we're exhaling to push out into our extension. Inhaling back. Exhale with the other leg into extension. Inhale back. Okay, so we've got a lot to think about here. We've got to protect the space under our lower back, make sure that's not changing. And we've got to keep our legs apart rather than allowing the bands to bring them back in together. So we've got lots of stuff going on. We're making sure that we're not tensing through the shoulders because this is a lower abdominal exercise. And just a little tip, the further you take your legs out and away from you, down towards the mat, the harder this exercise is. So you decide what level you're giving yourself as a challenge today. Let's do one more to either side. And let's bring those legs back down to the mat. Just allowing yourself to bring your legs into the midpoint. Just allow those hips to have a little bit of a time off. Just maybe tick-tocking those legs side to side. Take a little hip twist, level 2. Just allow them to drop to one side, looking over to the other side. Coming through the midpoint, allowing the legs to drop to the other side. Having a little spine twist and a little hip stretch. Fantastic. Okay, coming back to the midpoint now then. And we are going to take a hip twist. We've just done a hip twist level 2, but we're going to go back down to a level 1 now. So just pulling into that band for your parallel legs, hip width distance apart. We're going to imagine that we've got on our right knee a laser beam pointing up to the ceiling and it cannot move. It's got to stay where it is. And the left leg is going to just gently, the knee is going to pull away from its partner knee, opening out a bit like a clam, and then coming back into the midpoint. Switching the laser beam onto the left leg And now the right leg, the right knee is coming out. So all the time you're pushing into that band, and the resistance there is what's really firing up those hip, those muscles, all those little muscles around the hip, working really strong here. Should feel some core engagement as well, just to keep that pelvic stability as you move from one hip to the other, because what we don't want is to find one hip lifting off the ground. So your core is engaged, keep the pelvis steady. A little bit of pelvic floor engagement as well. Relaxing through the shoulders. And we'll just finish off evening up our sides. And just allow the knees to come together so that you're just allowing those muscles a little bit of a breather in between the exercises. That's fantastic. I'm going to take that now into a level 4 hip twist. So we're going to come into our double tabletop here. We're inhaling, laser beam on the right knee again. Left knee is pulling out open, so we're hinging from the hip to open that movement out. The foot is in line with the knee. Switching the laser beam, opening the other knee out. So we've got lots more core engagement on this one, but we're still making sure that the pelvis isn't moving, that we've got our gap under our lower back, and that our shoulders are nice and relaxed. So it doesn't really matter how far you go here, as long as you keep your stability, and as long as you feel you're working into that end point of your range today that you can control. Okay, finishing off on either side, then making sure you're even, and then floating one leg and the other leg back down to the mat. Fabulous, well done. Okay, and we're going to take a bridge pose now. So just move your feet back towards your bottom a little bit so that you can touch your feet with your toes. And then making sure that we're pulling into that band again just a little bit to get that parallel line from the hip through the knee down to the ankle. We're getting rid of the head cushion for bridge. Hands by your hips, just on the floor face down. Inhale prepares you. Exhale to squash your back down into the mat, losing your neutral spine there now, and peeling the tailbone up. One by one, allowing the vertebra to release off the mat. Coming up into that bridge position, so a nice straight line between knees and shoulders. Inhaling here, exhale to articulate all the way back down. Just remembering to keep that pressure on the band, resisting the pull of your knees back together. And then taking a breath, and on the exhale, rolling all the way back through the spine into your bridge again. And this time when we're in our extended lifted bridge position, we're going to pulse into the band. So we're going to take the knees out away from each other for 5, 4, slowing it down here, 3, keeping the pelvis steady, 2, and 1, and then rolling slowly all the way back down again. Just allowing those legs to release for a moment. And then taking up that position again, taking an inhale, and then rolling back up into your bridge. And then from here, we're going to dip our left hip down, raise it up. Dip the right hip down, raise it up. So we're just doing some hip dips here. And when we come back up into position, we're really trying to engage and squeeze that glute to make it fire up in this position. So one more hip dip to each side. Lovely. And then we'll do a little hip thrust as well. So drop the whole pelvis and then thrust up. So we're not articulating the spine here. This is just a hinging movement from the pelvis, really engaging those glutes and stopping at the top there, pulsing out for 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1, and then rolling all the way back down, slowly back down to the mat, and then allowing the knees to come together. Well done. Okay, you might be relieved to hear that you can unwrap yourself from the band. And then what we're going to do now is make a little stirrup to put your foot in the band. So I'm just getting the end of the band here, so that you've got a little circle, putting the circle round your foot and then reaching through the hole to pull the strings of the band through. There we go. So I've got my foot in a nice little hold, and I've got a nice long piece of band here to hold the foot with. Okay, so this is what we want our small head cushion back for this one. Just creeping off the mat there. Okay, and we're going to come through into a dead bug. So in our dead bug position, we've got tabletop legs and the hands are parallel like this. I would suggest just thinking about how long you want to make your band, because it's going to go quite long on the extension here, but you can always make it shorter if you want more resistance. So we're inhaling here. On the exhale, we're taking the band with the leg and the arm and reaching them both the way, coming back in. And we're going to stay with the band that has the leg, that is attached to the leg, and we're just working into that. Nice and slowly, keeping the core engaged. Exhaling to open out, inhaling to come back. Let's just take 3 more there. If you feel any twinging in the shoulder, then rather than opening the arm out as well, just keep the arm here and work the leg in to that position. Okay, we're going to switch the stirrup over now onto the other foot. Back into our dead bug starting position. Thinking about making sure you've got that little gap under your lower waist. Inhaling here, exhaling to take the limbs long. Inhaling back. So you should feel a nice bit of core engagement as you reach long to keep that back steady. Okay, and we're going to take another 3, another 2, and another 1, and then bring those legs and the arms back down to the mat. Wonderful. From here, just rolling over onto your side, and we're going to come up into 4-point kneeling. Keep the band on your foot. We're going to do swimming level 4, similar to the dead bug, but just a little bit different. Different angle, so different resistance points. So with our swimming level 4, what we're going to do is I've got the band on my right foot, So I'm going to take the band with my right hand as I'm holding onto the pressing down onto the mat. So with swimming level 4, I'm going to take my right leg out and my left arm. So the band, I'm pulling against the band that my right hand is holding. Back down to the middle, exhaling to lengthen away, inhaling back to the start point. So with this position, what we're trying to do is keep stable, so the core is working really hard, so that when we extend, we're not twisting out to get that movement. So our pelvis needs to remain nice and steady here. Shoulder relaxed. We'll do 3 more of these. You're looking down at the mat, so your neck is nice and long. 2, 1 more. Lovely. And just coming through to a seat while you take your band to the other side. And then back over into the 4-point kneeling position. So this time the band is being held by your other hand on your other foot. Setting up your position here, making sure you're not dropping into the shoulders too much, lifting strong out of those. Strong core, inhaling to prepare. Exhale to take the leg long and the arm long. Inhaling back. Exhaling to reach. Keeping that pelvis stable. My ball's in my way, I keep knocking into that. Exhale, lift. Inhale, come back down. Lovely. Taking that, feeling that strength through your shoulder, through your core. 3 more here. 2 more here. And the last one. Fantastic. Okay. Now, you might be relieved to hear that we're going to lose the band now. Thank you very much. So we'll just place that down, and we're going to come down onto our tummies now for swan dive. So we're going to bring the forehead to the mat, the little head cushion, keeping the neck long, so you're almost tucking under, so your nose isn't squashing into the mat. And our arms are in a cactus position. So elbows are shoulder height and hands are extending out from the shoulders away from us. So from here, we're engaging the core, pulling that away from the mat, keeping the glutes off. Inhale prepares us, exhale to float the breastbone away from the mat. So automatically that's going to raise the head as well. Double checking that we've got no glute engagement. This is coming from our backs. Inhaling here, exhaling to bring ourselves back down. Let's just take a couple more of those. Inhaling to prepare, drawing the core away, rising up, using that back strength. Double checking the glutes are off. Taking an inhale, exhale back down to the mat. Inhale to prepare us again. Exhale to lift. Inhale to hold it there. Exhale to float back down. Okay, we're going to the level 3 now. So we're going to come through the same first movement, but then we're going to float our hands off the floor as well. So inhaling to prepare, exhaling to float the breastbone and the head off the floor, re-engaging the core, floating the hands up as well. Double checking the glutes are off. This is just through the back, nice and strong. Inhaling there, exhaling to come back down to the mat, taking a breath. Exhaling to engage the core, power up, lift as one unit. Shoulders, breastbone, head, glutes off. Inhaling here and back down to the mat. Lovely. Once more like that. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to lift. Feeling that back nice and strong. Core supporting the movement. And back down we go. Lovely. Let's just take a shell stretch after that. So coming out, pushing up on the hands and allowing that back to come into flexion. Taking a breath here. Reaching the arms long. And then coming up through a 4-point kneeling. Crossing the ankles so that we can come back into a cross-leg position. And we're going to take a saw now. So set yourself up however works for you. We're going to take each leg open to the side. If this is difficult, just bring the legs a bit further in together, just wherever you can manage today. If it's difficult to sit up out of your waist from here, you might want to take a cushion just to plop under your hip bones, wherever feels good for you today, that supportive position. And then from here we're going to be inhaling and lifting the arms, and then we're twisting to one side, just with the torso, and then on the exhale we're coming down, we're allowing the arms to twist around behind us. So we're trying to twist, the aim is to reach your ankle bone with your forward hand and look behind you with your other hand and your head. And inhale there, exhale to come back up and then back to the midpoint and across. Doesn't matter where you get to, everybody's bodies are different. So wherever you get to, it's fine to land and just enjoy that twist there. Okay, inhaling up, twisting your torso to the other leg, taking an inhale, on the exhale, folding forwards, twisting down, and then just allowing the contact between the leg and the hand to anchor you a little in this position. Inhaling here, and then twisting back through the core, trying to control that movement with the core rather than allowing any momentum to ping you round anywhere, okay? Let's take one more to either side. Inhaling up, twisting round, and then exhaling down and across. Really feeling that pull through the adductors, the inner thighs, feeling that twist through the spine, feeling that muscle stretch as well across the back. Taking an inhale, exhaling up, back to the midpoint. Okay, and we'll take one more to the other side. Inhaling up, twisting over and down on the exhale. You might notice a difference between sides. I think this is a bit of a more difficult side for me. Inhaling into that twist, keeping the legs active, keeping the feet active, and then exhaling to lift out of that, back to the midpoint. Fantastic. Bringing the legs back into a neutral position. And now we're going to take some nice stretches. So we're coming forwards onto the mat, and we're going to take a pigeon here. If a pigeon isn't very comfortable for you, you can take a figure 4 stretch. So just bringing that leg up in front of you, taking the knee to the side of the mat, and then just shuffling back with that back leg. And allowing your elbows to come to the floor, and maybe your head as well, if that feels comfortable for you today, and just breathing there. And maybe allowing a little bit of movement, a little bit of a roll between the sides, so that you can feel the different stretching muscles when you move your pelvis. breathing, breathing deep, breathing wide. And then pushing up with your hands to come out of the pigeon, carefully tucking the toes under of the extended leg and allowing your hips to hinge up into a dog. This is your transition point, so just enjoying taking the dog for a walk, stretching off the calves, maybe taking a stretch, tick-tocking the hips so you're stretching out the side body. Continuing to pedal out, feeling that stretch through the feet as well. Lovely. And then bringing the other leg up into the folded part of the pigeon, keeping that knee out to the side, and then allowing that back leg to lengthen out, coming down onto your elbows and then maybe onto your hands if that's a happy place for you today. And just taking some breaths there, allowing the muscles to release and relax. Maybe taking a gentle movement, a gentle roll here, just to allow a little bit of difference in the muscles that are being stretched. And then gently coming up, pressing out of that pigeon, tucking the toe under, hinging up with the hips, coming through that down dog again, taking some cleansing breaths, stretching off through the legs, and then walking the hands up, or the feet rather, up towards the hands for a forward fold. Keeping the legs straight, just maybe taking hold of your ankles or your calves and just gently providing a little bit more of a pull and a stretch for those legs. And then bending at the knee, engaging the core, rolling back up. Rolling out the shoulders, and then we're going to take a knocking on heaven's door last movement. So we're going to just sort of sway our body from side to side and allow the knees just to bend and flex as we go side to side. And as we allow the knees to go further into that movement, we're allowing the arms to have momentum, to use the momentum, to sway round. Now if you do get dizzy, it's quite useful to pick a couple of points in the room and just allow your eyes, your gaze to travel from one to the other, back to the other, rather than allowing that continuous movement of the head and the eyes. So this is a nice one because it just gets the whole body moving and flowing. Fantastic, and then just allow that movement to soften and finish. And then we're going to take our 3 cleansing breaths to finish on today. So inhaling up, releasing back, inhaling up, letting it all go as a sway back, inhaling up, releasing behind you again. And that's us for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you again soon. Bye.